Alrighty, guys. Looks like we are live. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. We are broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. Today is continued coverage of Richard Allen's trial. Today is October 21st, 2024. Richard Allen is accused of killing Abby and Libby February 13th of 2017 in Delphi, Indiana. Looks like today will be a very interesting day. They will most likely be going over the crime scene photos, and there's been some discussion about Libby's video and some rules about presenting it to the jury. I think we'll do somewhat of a recap. We'll look at Pat Brown, his testimony. We'll talk about the video and audio and some of the filings. And then I'll go ahead and explain my position and why I still believe Richard Allen will be changing his plea no later than this Wednesday, with or without a deal. And then if there's anything breaking between that and the end of the live stream, we'll get to it. Good morning, Zuzu. She Warrior. Carla, shout out to Southern Illinois. Misunderstood, good morning. Says justice for Abby and Libby. Patty. Cheeks, good to see you. How are you? My guy Brad from outside of the grid. Not inside the grid, but outside of the grid. Jerry, how you doing? Audra, welcome in. Hathers, nice to see you. Thanks for getting Frank to court on time this morning. Bright and early. Beth, always good to see you. She Warrior, good morning. Christine, my guy Don Spain, what up? Cuddle yourselves to Lulu. So both victims had blood stains. Funny, I could have sworn I've been told by YouTubers that Abigail's body had no blood on it or near it. Yep, they'll say anything to get their boy Ricky off, right? We're not here to get Ricky on because me, I don't know if it's him, but I do believe he is the bridge guy. I definitely subscribe to that theory. And I have my own reasons. Truffles, how you doing? Daily Survivor, good to see you. Silas. Way the fuck outside the grid. Melissa, how you doing? Kitty Cat. Shadow, good morning. How you doing? Don says, I would be surprised if he changed his plea. Can't wait to hear why. Yeah, I'll give you my explanation. Yonder, how you doing? No problem. He's done with morning session. Going to pick him up. Good. Tell him to shoot me an email so we can get some info from him. Saska, how are you? True that. Did you see Andrea Burkhart filed into the trial to have access to transcripts and recordings? Yes, I have that. Brown Skittle, how you doing? I know it's late on your side of the world. Hope you're doing well. Lauren? Okay, you're back home. That's good. How was your trip? Audra says justice for Abby and Libby. Good to see you, Hiawatha. Good morning. Miss Thang, what's up? Always good to see you. Stacy Skinner. The Red Queen. Hope you're having a great day. What's up, T-Bone? All right, without further ado, I say we get into Patrick Brown's testimony. I pulled 2 articles that seem to contain the most info about it, and then also a video from Russ McQuaid. Okay, this is by the NBC Chicago staff and WTHR. What's up, AB? Welcome in. Good to see you. Brett Decker, how you doing? Sensei, what's going on? How are you? You know we got to hit him, Sensei.
We do not train to be merciful here. Mercy is for the weak. Here, on the street, in competition.
Yes, Sensei. Mustang, good to see you. Timmy, how are you? Return those diamonds. H. Nixon. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, a witness became choked up during day 2 of testimony in the Delphi murders trial as he described the moment he discovered the bodies of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Pat Brown testified on Saturday in the trial of Richard Allen, who was charged with the murders of Libby, 14, and Abby, 13, who were killed on February 2017 along a hiking trail in the small Indiana community around 3,000 residents. Brown, who said he's known Mike Patty since high school, said his wife told him that Becky Patty, Libby's grandmother, posted on Facebook that Libby was missing. WTHR, the NBC affiliate in Indianapolis, reported. He called Mike that day, February 13th, and told him he would help look near the Monon High Bridge where the girls had gone walking. Brown said he walked down the ravine near Deer Creek and saw people setting up a drone. So that kind of clears that up, right? You know, what type of drone, and I wonder if there's more information about that. But now I think there's proof that there, in fact, was a drone, early on even. He then went to the Mears entrance and drove around the countryside to see if the girls were there. Brown said he saw people searching with flashlights and flying a drone, then drove into town looking for the girls and stopped at a fire station before going home. The Delphi resident resumed to the area the following day with his friend, Tom Mears. As the day got underway, he saw Steve Mullen, Delphi's then police chief, coordinating search efforts with people and got Mullen's phone number. Brown said he picked up his daughter from school mid-morning because she didn't feel well and then had lunch. Mears called him to say he got a call that Shane Haygood had found clothing and asked Brown to check the area. During his testimony, Brown told the jury, "First, I thought they were mannequins." You know, that happens a lot. That happened in the Hillside Strangler case. That happened in multiple cases here out of Phoenix. Lolly Avalar and Cameron Myers. People who found them said they look like mannequins. Another case out of Phoenix, Benjamin Anderson, the person who discovered his body. If you listen to the 911 call, he says, I thought it was a mannequin. So I think that's just goes to the fact that it's, they're in disbelief. No way that that's an actual body sitting in front of me or bodies in front of me. It's, it's got to be mannequins. So that's extremely common from what I've seen. Brown said he was 5 feet from Libby and Abby's bodies. I stood there facing away from them, he said. Then police arrived. Mullen, who also testified on Saturday, explained the day following the girls' disappearance, he set up a command center at the Delphi Fire Department and coordinated searches. He noted that the original searches were downstream. Mullen showed the jury where Abby and Libby's bodies were found on a huge aerial map showing the Monon High Bridge trails. He also took drone footage on February 13th, 2024, to show the jurors the trails from the Freedom Bridge and Monon High Bridge. Mullen pointed out improvements to the jury made to the Monon High Bridge since the 2017 murders in original areas of unimproved railroad ties. Okay. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the shoe story that was told to a few different podcasters by Kelsey German. This is what was seen before. So this is what searchers found on the north side, looking over. They actually saw footprints leading in this direction. They yelled up to Kelsey, who was on the private drive, just on the south end of the Monon High Bridge. Said, "Hey, what kind of shoe was Libby wearing?" She said, "Black and white Nikes." And they said, "Oh shit, we found it. We found something." They alerted Pat Brown that they found something. He came down through the cemetery, coming directly towards where they found it. And that's when he came across the bodies. Good to see you, KB. Yeah, we don't know if he's guilty or innocent, but I definitely lean more towards it. He's going to be charged with this crime. Hey, Jill, good to see you. Cheek says a lot of reports early on about the drone searching for the girls with the thermal camera. I always thought it was nothing burger because how could they not see the bodies if they had a thermal camera? Yeah, so maybe a lot of times these rumors are half truths, right? So they had a drone. Maybe it didn't have a thermal camera, or they had a drone with a thermal camera, but like Mullen said, they weren't searching east. They were searching north, or excuse me, west. What about it, T-Bone? Some guy in Florida wanted donations saying he lost his house in recent hurricanes. Mustang, it's never mannequins. Yeah, the mind is a strange, it's a strange organ. Shadow says I wear a pin on my coat that says it's never a mannequin. Those who get it, get it. Makes sense. Good to see you, Audra. Linda, hello. BN Mama, what's up? Doing a deposit for work. Will catch replay when I punch out. Hey, have a great day. Thanks for the comment. It says justice for Abby and Libby. May God hold their families close. Thank you for that. Yep, I agree with that, Cheeks. I agree. Yep, all incorrect. All the speculation is just going down it's going down the drain. It's going to be hard for some to handle. See, even T-Bone's still keeping up with it. People will believe what they want to believe. Hey, Andy. What's up, Sleuth? I'm back from Texas. Saw Eminem live. Ooh, how fun. Some catching up to do. So Andrea Burkhart is the vibe, but your show always gets me through the day. Justice for Abby and Libby. Thank you for that. Okay, so we've learned that Abby wasn't wearing any socks, so I think it's clear that to say that that's probably what we're looking at there. It's a sock. Scrub report, 167 in chat, less than 50 likes. If you guys could hit that like button, go share the video on your X feed, your YouTube channel, Facebook, whatever. I need to get one of those button machines. Those are cool. It's like a press, right? Maybe I can send them out to all my subscribers. Thank you, Brown Skittle. YouTube bad actors. Oh, I hate how much I love your channel. What a guilty pleasure that is. Good to see you, badass. Yeah, people are going to believe what they want to believe, Red Queen, unfortunately. I have my bias, but I'm able to put that aside for truth. So if anything leads us away from Richard Allen, you know, if anything, to thine own self be true, right? What's going on, Mustang? I'm not sure, Brown. I thought it was it's the black hoodie, and then Abby was wearing the grayish zip up hoodie. I think that's what's in the creek right here. Pretty sure this is either Libby's sweatpants or the jacket Abby was wearing. I tend to believe it's the jacket. Yep. So they were downstream, Dawn, exactly. So even if they did have a thermal drone, I think they were being directed downstream. There is a motion going on about the video. They're not trying to get rid of the video or the audio. They just don't want anybody trying to explain what it is. And what that is they're trying to take away the witness statements, right? You can't really put in witness statements unless it applies to something like a lineup. And then all you need is a third party to say, hey, I witnessed this witness point at this lineup. So they're using the video similar to a lineup, which is admissible, you know? So I feel like that's what they're attacking. They don't want the investigation team to sit there and tell the jury, like, hey, we talked to these witnesses and they pointed at the video and said, hey, that's the guy we saw. And I also believe they're very misleading. So I don't think the defense is trying to say, hey, when his lips were moving, or when you hear guys down the hill, you can't see Richard Allen's lips moving. What I think they mean to say is that his face isn't in the view of the camera. So you hear the guys down the hill, but you don't see the bridge guy's face. So it's not like you can see his face, hear the words, and his lips aren't moving. See, they're very misleading. This is what they do. And they're going to lose the trust of that jury. quickly. What's up, Redfoot? Stop that right now. Good morning. Okay, let me go to another article about Pat Brown. Welcome in, Lily Ray. No comment. No comment. Sleuth just got back. Did I miss anything from trial this morning? That I don't know. I'm waiting for some updates on that. And I believe the first half, I think they're done with the first half. So we should be getting some reports out. If you guys are getting any information about what happened in court today, you can shoot me an email at sleuthintuition@gmail.com or share it in the comments. There's so many comments right now, it's going to be hard for me to catch up. Okay, this is from Laura Collins, chief investigative reporter in Delphi, Indiana, and this is going to be for the Daily Mail. She says, jurors in Delphi, Indiana have heard key testimony about when and where Liberty German and Abigail Williams' bodies were found by the man who discovered them. Local man Patrick Pat Brown found the girls' bodies around noon on Tuesday, February 14th, having joined community search efforts earlier that day. Taking the stand on Saturday morning, he struggled to maintain his composure as he told the court, "I looked, and at first I thought they were mannequins. Then I said, 'We found them. Please call the police.'" The details of the timing and location of Brown's grim discovery are pivotal to both sides' case, and Richard Allen's innocence or guilt could turn on which version jurors believe. Allen has been accused of murdering Libby and Abby, whose bodies were found near the Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi. Libby 14, Abby 13 went missing on the afternoon of Monday, February 13th, 2017, but their bodies were not found until the following day. In his opening statement for the defense, Allen's lead attorney, Andrew Baldwin, insisted that this is because the girls were not killed immediately on site, but were abducted and held elsewhere, then returned to the Woodland area the following day when they were brutally murdered. Now, they're going to have an uphill battle trying to prove that. So you think the prosecution's timeline was going to be hard? Good luck with that. It's a timeline that, if believed, would blow the prosecution out of the water, as it spans a period during which Allen's movements are accounted for. And when he says accounted for, all they're talking about is Betsy Blair saying, "I didn't see that black car, and I saw a younger man at the bridge." Today, prosecutor Nick McClellan set out to close the door on Baldwin's claims that pushed back at the defense suggestion that the area where the girls were found had already been thoroughly searched the previous day. In fact, the jury heard initial search efforts were focused on an area downstream from Monon High Bridge, on which Libby and Abby were walking. Excuse me. Carroll County investigator Steve Mullen, who was chief of police in Delphi at the time of the murders, explained that law enforcement was working on the assumption that the teens had met with an accident and perhaps fallen from the bridge, in which case they would have been washed downstream. He said, "At that point, I still believed they would return home. I just couldn't imagine that anybody had done any harm to them." In fact, the court was told it was the discovery of items of Libby's clothing caught on roots in Deer Creek upstream from the bridge on Tuesday morning that led to a closer search of a thickly wooded area in which they were found, and which the prosecution stated had neither been searched on foot nor in daylight on Monday. McClellan told the jury in his opening statements earlier this week the last face the girls saw before their throats were slit was Richard Allen's. His words came as a chilling conclusion to his brief opening remarks about the case, which he summed up as being about Bridge Guy, a bullet, and the brutal murder of two young girls. While the jury listened intently, he painted the scene of a bucolic, innocent day being enjoyed by two girls who were more sisters than friends. It was, he said, unreasonably warm, a nice summer day in the middle of winter. And that's a quote. When they decided to walk a path they had walked many times before along abandoned railroad lines towards Delphi's Monon High Bridge. It's scary and flat out dangerous, McClelland said of the bridge, and once it has been crossed, there, he noted, no escape. It was while they were crossing that bridge that Libby looked back on her friend Abby, 13, and saw they were being followed. She pulled out her phone, took the now infamous video of Bridge Guy before the two were threatened with a gun and ordered down the hill. McClelland described the horror of the scene that met searchers who discovered the girl the next day. Both had their throats slit multiple times. Libby was naked and covered in blood. Abby was partially clothed in both her own and her friend's clothes, while the rest of the girl's clothing was found in the creek. Convincing the jury that Allen is guilty of the crimes and that he alone knows what happened in the hours between the girl's disappearance and his awful reality will be the work of the next 5 weeks of the state. The prosecution will depend on the presence of the bullet at the scene and allegedly cycled through Allen's gun, as well as his own statements having been on the trail that day in numerous jailhouse confessions. Welcome to the Sleuth Crew. You two bad actors. Welcome in. Make sure you guys make her feel at home. Make them feel at home. Her or him. Yeah, that I don't know. A lot of that stuff came from Erskine, the leaked Erskine texts. Truffle says his body type is seen in the video. Absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to go refill my coffee. Don't go anywhere. All righty. Thank you for that. I even just made it black, so I didn't take any more time. So there's the stuff. There's the clothing right there. The girls were found just on the other side here.
The first of several Saturday half sessions, jurors heard from 3 witnesses, the former police chief of Delphi and 2 searchers who went out to find the girls who were missing after taking a Monday afternoon walk along the Monon High Bridge outside of town. When Abby and Livy took a day off from school to walk the Monon High Bridge some 60 feet above Deer Creek on February 13th, 2017, they were accosted by Bridge Guy, captured here on video from Libby's cell phone, who ordered the girls. Investigators say Bridge Guy followed Libby and Abby to the south end of the Monon High Bridge, where they were forced down to the creek bed. Searcher Jacob Johns testified that he walked the south side banks of Deer Creek for hours Tuesday morning until, after passing under the bridge, he described another searcher spotted possible footprints and disturbed rocks leading down the incline to the creek side, as if someone had scrambled down the hill. Then Johns and Shane Hapgood found a tie-dyed shirt belonging to one of the girls hung up on tree roots in the creek. Meanwhile, another witness, Pat Brown, told jurors that he received word that something had been found in the creek. So he started walking south from Morning Heights Cemetery on the creek's north side when he stumbled on the site of the girls' bodies. I thought they were mannequins, he told jurors, and then as his voice cracked, Brown testified he called out to the other searchers, "We found them." Brown said he then called Delphi police with his find and turned his back on the scene. Witnesses are expected to testify that they saw a man who wore clothes similar to Allen's that day, who was walking along a nearby country road with pants that appeared either muddy, like he had been in a creek, or bloody, as if he had just committed a crime.
And they didn't say just committed a crime. I believe the quote by the witness was slaughtered a pig.
In giving the jurors off just before noon, Judge Frangal said that when they come back to work Monday morning, they will hear the lengthy testimony of a prosecution witness, indicating quite possibly in the witness stand, we will hear from a law enforcement officer who would have been among the first to arrive at the scene and to secure the scene
Kristen?
where the girls' bodies were found. In Delphi, Russ McQuaid, CBS 4.
Shout out to Russ McQuaid holding it down. Okay, let's take a look at some of the activity that was going on today. This video right here is from Rafael Sanchez. You can see him on X at Rafael on TV. On is with a capital O, so that's all lowercase, at Rafael, capital O, lowercase n, capital T, capital V, at Rafael on TV. It's like there's Anthony Greeno, there's Marv. I don't recognize these other folks. Looks like down at the bottom you might have, I don't know, is that Bob Mata? That looks like Rosie. The bottom right over there with his hands in his pockets. Oh, that's Julie Melvin right there. Right there facing the camera. I don't recognize these other folks. Is that Andrea Burkhart? Nice view of people's feet. I think I have another one from Kyla Russell.
So bad. But now I'm in a great hotel.
Are you back in Lafayette?
Yes. That's random. So bad. But now
That kind of looks like the back of Frank Meister's head. I know he was there today.
I'm in a great hotel.
Are you back in Lafayette?
I'm not, I could be wrong.
That's random. So bad.
We got some more sketches from TAG Art Company, April Ganser. That looks like Becky. Interesting sketch style. That's a good depiction of Richard Allen there. He's kind of got those weird lips. Rosie Baldwin. Not sure who that is. Interesting to see Richard Allen kind of just sitting there kind of nonchalant. This photograph is from Kit Hanley. Looks like pretty early in the morning. Not quite sure who these folks are. That may possibly be Marv. That might be Frank. That's kind of his hairstyle. And he's a pretty tall dude. These are the filings from today. Motion and lemonade, defendant's motion and lemonade regarding the videos. So they're not trying to get rid of the videos or the audio. They just don't want anybody trying to explain to the jury what they are. Like, they don't want them kind of giving putting any ideas in their head, like, oh, well, this is Richard Allen, you know, this, and that. They just want to play it, let them hear it, and they can make up their own minds about it. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have that. We're going to show that right now. But if you guys have anything, send it to me. If I already have it, I'll let you guys know. So keep it coming. We're going to try to consolidate all of the information here. So we have, and we'll go over both of these documents. We won't go over everything that was sent in by Andrea Burkhart. It's pretty long-winded, but we'll go over maybe 2 or 3 pages of that. And we'll show you how to find it on your own. And then also we have something from Delphi Mayor Cameron Yates. So city pre-planning for the trial. They're going to have cell phone boosters, media parking, negotiations with local business to arrange for reserved parking, overflow parking. We worked with local businesses to arrange overflow parking, co-working space, Carroll County Chamber of Commerce to arrange remote co-working space for visitors, law enforcement, court coordination. We've met several times with law enforcement and court officials to coordinate traffic, street closures, and parking enforcement. Hospitality center. We work with the community to arrange a hospitality center for law enforcement involved in the trial to provide drinks, snacks, and even haircuts. Would you look at that? Safety. Primary goal is to continue to keep the citizens of the city and all of our visitors safe while they are navigating the increase in traffic, pedestrians, and demand on resources. Daily planning. The mayor, chief of police, and department heads will be meeting daily to discuss emerging issues, logistics, and enforcement. Listen to police officers and city officials. We ask that the members of the public be on the lookout for police officers who are available to answer questions, patience and understanding. Traffic and parking. We expect a dramatic increase in traffic and competition for parking. Yeah, Delphians are pretty pissed off. They can't even seem to find a place to park, even if they don't have any interest in what's going on with the trial. So there's that. Here is the document from the defendant's motion in limine regarding videos from the victim's phone. So number one, the defense believes that the state will seek to introduce video and audio enhancements of the video recovered from Libby German's cell phone. Said video was taken on February 13th. The video and audio enhancements contain words and sounds. One of the audio enhancement files received by the defense contains a phrase seemingly uttered by one of the victims, which phrase is repeated on a loop. One of the audio enhancement files received by the defense contains an audio clip of a man speaking, which is also repeated on a loop. The words allegedly spoken by the victims on the enhanced video are very difficult to understand. The defense requests the court prohibit the state from eliciting testimony concerning what words are spoken by the girls on the enhanced audio recordings. So eliciting means kind of selling an idea to them, right? Trying to provoke a certain narrative. So all the defense is asking is let them hear it. Don't tell them what they're hearing. Let them decide on their own. Number 7, the defense requests the court prohibit the state from eliciting, once again, there's that word, testimony concerning what sounds are contained in the enhanced video with the man's voice. So the public's been told there's a sound of a gun being cocked. They don't want anybody to tell the jury, like, hey, that clicking sound, that's a gun. They want them to decide what they're hearing. The video and audio enhancements appear to be investigatory tools, but that's not true, right? They're kind of using it as a lineup. You had Richard Allen himself say, I ran into these 3 witnesses, and those 3 witnesses are saying, hey, I ran into Richard Allen, and Richard Allen is the guy in Libby's video. So it's not like the sketches where it's hearsay. It's more like a lineup. Interpreting the words and sounds of the enhanced video require completely subjective analysis, and that's true. Without the witnesses and without Richard Allen saying that he saw those witnesses, it would be pure hearsay. It's a blurry video. Apparently, you can't see the man's face. So if in that case, it wouldn't be allowed. But the only reason it's allowed is because Richard Allen's own words. He said, hey, I saw these witnesses. Those witnesses say, hey, we saw him, but we also say the man we saw is this guy in the video. So they don't need to ID the guy or even get a good look at him. They just need to corroborate that. Testimony identifying the words and sounds on the video is speculative, which is accurate. The enhanced videos were not related to the identification of Richard Allen as a suspect, and the court's going to agree. So it says here, therefore, the sketches are not relevant. See, so they're saying it's just like the sketches, and it's not. It's completely different. Because the girls never said once, hey, that's Richard Allen in the video, or that's Richard Allen that we saw. All they're saying is that the guy that we did run into is the guy in the video. And Richard Allen went ahead and did the rest for the prosecution by admitting that that was him. Allowing a witness to speculate as to the words and sounds on the recordings would put ideas in the jury's heads, and that would be confusing and misleading. I agree with this. It is up to the jury to determine what words sounds exist on the recordings. Yep, 100%. So this will most likely, in my opinion, be approved. Additionally, allowing the enhanced recordings to play on a loop is repetitive, cumulative, and unduly suggestive. That part, I don't think you need to play it on a loop. So I think the majority of this will be approved. Some of it won't be. If they're allowed to hear it, it should be up to them if they want to hear it on a loop or not. Not up to the defense or the prosecution. If they want to hear it again, hear it again. Okay, Beth, thank you. I'm going to read these updates here. Looks like this is from Angela Ganot, and this was sent to me by Beth, one of my best mods. Okay, she says, and this is Angela Ganote, and you can go see her on Twitter or X at all lowercase Angela Ganote, Ganote. She says, my colleague, Fox 59's Russ McQuaid, was in court this morning. These are his observation. And thank you, Beth. Testimony started with the first deputy on the scene and an ISP crime scene investigator. 42 crime scene photos were entered into evidence, geez, and shown to court and jurors. The photos included everything from the general area to close-ups of Libby and Abby. Abby was dressed, Libby was naked. The clothes Abby was in appeared damp. So there you go, guys. Damp. They crossed that creek. It was not deep and it was not rushing, regardless of what anybody tells you. There were bloodstains on both girls, on the ground, and on the surrounding trees. Not trees. There were tree branches set up in what appeared to be a pattern on top of the girls. Some were in V's or crosses, some with large branches. Murder suspect Richard Allen looked at the pictures as they were shown, but Russ said he had no significant reaction to them in his opinion. That's very interesting.
Happening today, the Delphi double murder trial continues in Carroll County.
2 days of testimony, they are officially behind us. Fox 59's Kit Hanley explaining what jurors are expected to learn in the courtroom for day 3. Kit, good morning.
Zach, Scott, good morning. Experts say today will be about getting into the meat and potatoes of the state's case. Jurors will begin to learn the disturbing details in which Abby Williams and Libby German were killed and the timeline of which they were found. Now, they'll also learn about the evidence that led to Richard Allen becoming the prime suspect of the crime. Witness testimony will likely include law enforcement witnesses who were first to arrive to the crime scene on February 14th, 2017.
Good point,
Abby Williams
Sandollar.
and Libby German were walking along the Monon.
That's a great point by Sandollar. Closed damp means yes, went through the creek and not taken away.
High Bridge over Deer Creek a day prior, when the state says they were abducted by Bridge Guy, who ordered them down the hill. His image you can see there was captured on Libby's cell phone. Prosecutors say Bridge Guy stabbed them to death and left the two girls with little clothing. The two were found near the north bank of Deer Creek on private land. Now, 2 years ago, investigators announced that Bridge Guy was Richard Allen, based on an interview he gave a DNR officer a few days after the murders, as well as an unfired bullet found at the crime scene that matched a gun in Allen's home. The girls' families will be back in the courtroom today to hear from the investigators taking the stand, where they'll speak on what they saw on the riverbank when the bodies were found that day. They'll also show jurors photos of the crime scene.
They are outstanding, and they will have had everything that's available in terms of evidence that's available to be gathered. The Indiana State Police Investigative Unit will have gotten it. They're outstanding and second to none.
The trial is scheduled to run 6 days a week, Mondays through Saturdays for the next month. But Judge Fran Goles says she'll allow jurors extra time away from the courtroom to process all of the painful details they've heard. She says there will be rough days ahead, and today is included. Our Russ McQuaid will be back in the courtroom this morning, gathering the latest for you. But in the meantime, you can check all of our extensive coverage on our website, fox59.com.
Fox59.com. Shout out to them. Great coverage. Okay, we'll try to get caught up on the chat, and then I'll give you guys some of the reasons I think that Richard Allen will still change his plea, regardless if he gets a deal or a bargain. How you doing, Purdue? Always good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Just saw Andrea B's coverage. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Let's go to those documents before I change course here. So let me pull up. Let me share the link if you guys want to go view it in its entirety. So this looks like Andrea Burkhart's website. I think it's about maybe 10 pages. I just put the link in the chat. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to pull up a few pages. That way you guys know what it's all about. You can get the gist. So if you're checking the Indiana My Case and you're seeing a motion for leave to intervene and for public access to court records, this is what it is. This is what it's all about. As a member of the public at large, respectfully submits this motion for leave to intervene and for public access to court records. So she wants to see all of the exhibits. So she's talking about how she has a huge YouTube channel, which she absolutely does, and she's been doing great coverage regardless of who she associates with. No judgment here. 67,000 subscribers on X. So she's definitely very popular. But here are some of the reasons that she lists here. Despite overwhelming public interest in the case, this court has repeatedly denied requests to broadcast this trial to the public. So she's being really kind of argumentative. I don't think that that's a good approach. Because Judge Gall is going to say, well, I've allowed members of the public in, and if you want access to this information, you can go through them. The court also denied a request by news media to record court proceedings by order dated September 11th, 2024. But the truth is, Judge Gall allowed the cameras, and then we had crime. So first she allowed the cameras to be in the courtroom. Everything was going to be televised. And then the defense team turned it into a circus, or it evolved into a circus. And that's what affected her decision. So she could care less about us and, what we want to hear. She has media in there. They're taking notes. They're reporting. We're getting all of the information. But she's protecting that courtroom and that trial and Richard Allen. Even though some conspiracy theorists disagree with that, that's what she's doing, and she's doing a great job. Let's see. Because the orders denying broadcasting and recording of the proceedings limit the scope and quality of information publicly available about what is occurring during the trial. As a result of the trial's inaccessibility to the public view, numerous members of the public and the media have likewise traveled to the small community of Delphi, Indiana, in an effort to witness the trial in person. Yeah, good for them. So if you guys want to read this in its entirety, the link is in the chat. Okay, so I told you guys long ago that I expected when the trial, at the latest, Richard Allen will change his plea to guilty no later than this Wednesday, the 23rd. Some of the reasons I believe that he will do that is because and we never say Richard Allen is the killer because we don't know. It's based on information that hasn't been proven yet. We believe he fits the description and the profile of the killer. But if he is the killer, in quotations, is the killer, and Richard Allen is the bridge guy, in my mind, anybody that can kill those two girls the way that they were murdered is 100% a psychopath. So that tells me that Richard Allen needs to be in control. So the reason he will change his plea is that puts him back in control, right? He's the conductor of this runaway train. He wants time with his family. That's all he's doing right now. He gets a clean shave. He gets to put on his favorite purple polo and spend time outside of that cell and close to his family. The only thing he's missing is a Bud Light, right? Right now, he's the star of his own horror movie, but he's also the director. And if he is a psychopath and if he is the killer, the moment that courtroom paints him in a bad light or starts to paint him as a disgusting pig, that's when he'll take control. And that's what's happening right now with the crime scene photos and all of the emotion. And the jury's going to start looking at him right? He's looking at them. They're looking at him. They're looking at the crime scene photos. They're looking at the bridge guy video. He's looking at them. No emotion. You know, as soon as the tide turns against his favor, he's going to take control. And remember, if he's the bridge guy, that's what it's all about. It's all about control for him. And remember, to him, it's not his fault. It's the girl's fault. It's not his fault. It's his family's fault. He's not the pig. It's the world that is the pig. And he's facing up to 130 years. But even if they gave him a deal or something around 40 years, it's still a life sentence. So those are the reasons why. Because I believe the killer of this, who's responsible for this, is a psychopath. And they're going to take control. And I believe it'll be before the 23rd. I have one more email. I'm going to take a look here. I don't know. It looks like I have to download that, and I'm not going to do that. So I'll take a look for myself here. Okay, this is from Kylie Russell at Kyla, or sorry, Kyla, not Kylie, Kyla. Also, she says the defense is focusing their cross-examination on three main things. Who was carrying a firearm when responding to the scene? What kind of firearm it was? And if the person's phone worked from that area of the scene. They are laying the foundation for the arguments they'll make in the coming days. That seems extremely weak. Like, who cares what the cops, type of guns the cops had? You know, who cares about that? So it's like, okay, oh, the cops had a 6-hour 226. So you're telling me that tool mark examination is legitimate, but that it doesn't match Richard Allen, and it could match one of these officers. They're trying to create this doubt, but at the same time, they're being hypocritical. It's not going to work, guys, in my opinion. Okay, let's check out what's going on with Donnie Burgess. Okay, I'm not really seeing too much going on as far as reporting. Let's go to the chat here. Queen of Ossian. You guys, if I missed your comment, go ahead and put it back in the chat here. Good to see you, V. Thank you, Brad. Says justice for Abby and Libby. Thank you for that. Miss Thang, how you doing? Mustang. No, remember when Mata came on my channel and we interviewed him, he said he was a little upset with the defense team because they weren't taking his advice. He said they need to attack the timeline. You notice that's exactly what they did. When they talk about Richard Allen's alibi, it's not really an alibi. It's what Betsy Blair stated. She said she saw a younger guy, maybe in his 20s. And when I left at 2:15, the vehicle I seen parked at the CPS building wasn't a black hatchback. It was an older model type vehicle. So that's their alibi. And then they're also stating that the girls were taken and brought back because of the pings. And we all know that pings aren't accurate. And then also at 4:30 a.m., the phone was turned back on. And I've proven through my own investigation that that's what happens with the iPhone 6 after receiving water damage. We've gone over that, a couple of times. We have people that go on forums and they say, hey, my iPhone 6, I dropped it in water, and now in the middle of the night, it turns on and off. So they're making this harder on themselves, in my opinion. Anna Melodies, what's up? Welcome in. He is a turtle. He's a turtle head. Who's that, Cheeks? Judy Teeple, welcome in. Hidden True Crime with Lauren and Dr. John was in line this morning. Oh, okay. Is that who was shown in that video? I didn't know a lot of those faces. Yeah, let's go back to those drawings. Oh, sorry about that. That's a good one of Richard Allen right there. He's got those weird lips. Stacy Skinner says, thank you for helping get Frank Meister for getting a hotel for a week. And thank you to my girl, Hathers Mir, for helping transport him. 100%. I think Don Spain as well. Everybody who donated to his Cash App. Shout out to them. Yep, Blade. He was in the hotel room. Tried to escape, but got him back in there. That would have gave me anxiety for sure. What's going on, Phil Bond? V? Tina Stair. Hope you're having a great day. So I don't know if we're going to get too many more updates, guys. Good grief. I see what you did there, Miss Thang. I see what you did there. I like Toidles. Good to see you. Update. I saw on the break was Hidden True Crime. Oh, okay. Rightfield, how are you? Yeah, looks like 40-something crime scene photos, close-ups, and apparently Richard Allen showed zero emotion. I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean, is that the reaction of an innocent man or of a cold-blooded killer? You think even an innocent man would shy away, right? Yeah, I think the emotion around that, Delulu, it just creates like this overwhelming emotion. They're going to look at the crime scene photos. They're going to look over at Rick. Rick's going to look over at them. They're going to look at the crime scene photos, and then they're going to see that bridge guy video. They're going to hear how Rick said he was there that day at that time, and he was wearing a blue coat, blue jeans, and a hat. Yeah. I don't care how the defense spins this. It does not look good for Richard Allen. Kitty Cat. Dr. John there. He'll have some choice words about the ludicrous defense theory. I look forward to it. And if you guys have anything, shoot me an email, because it doesn't look like this is going to be a very long live stream. There's not much more to report. So I'll look for some updates before we get out of here. But if you have anything right now, we're going to catch up on the chat, and I'll wait for any emails that come through. So right now, if you're just joining us, they're going to allow the video and the audio in because it's not hearsay. It's not the same as the sketches. And I believe that's based solely on Richard Allen and his interaction with the witnesses. He said, hey, I saw these 3 girls. 3 girls said, yep, we saw him. And the him that we saw is the guy in Libby's video. And also, the jury just requested through a motion in Lemonade that they don't want anybody coaching the jury on what is going on in that video and what they're hearing in the audio. They want the jury to make that decision for themselves. They don't want investigators saying, oh, you hear the gun cocking? No, they want to get that out of there. And I think that's appropriate. So no coaching on what is being seen or heard in the video. I think that's fair. And it's my opinion, by this Wednesday, Richard Allen will be changing his plea, with or without a deal. And he's only if he's the killer, right? If he's the killer, his only motivation is control. You know, I'm running this outfit. This is my operation. And the only reason he's spending some time in the courtroom is to get out of jail, get a clean shave, wear his favorite polo and street clothes, and be close to his family. All he's missing is a Bud Light. But as soon as that courtroom starts to paint him as a disgusting killer, a disgusting pig, psychopaths, they can't handle that. You know, because it's not their fault. What happened, it's not his fault in his mind. Somebody drove him to this. He's not the pig. It's the world that is the pig. So in order, you know, he can put the brakes on this anytime he wants. He's in control. If he's that killer, right? If. And unfortunately, guys, that's the price you pay to hang out on my channel. You have to suffer through my opinions. I'm no expert. I don't mind being right or wrong. And I am prepared for an acquittal or a not guilty. It's just my opinion that that's not what we're going to get. T-Bone says they need to authenticate who took pics and videos. That can't be done. Bantapire, that's why they want to change the timeline to act like Allen didn't encounter the teen girls. Exactly. So they're taking Mata's advice. They're attacking the timeline. And it's a ridiculous timeline. Okay, so the girls were taken elsewhere. Okay, who'd they go with? Did anybody see a vehicle down on the private drive? Did anybody see them elsewhere? All right, looks like we got an email. Let me go check out this link here. Oh, I can't pull up anybody else's YouTube channel, but I'll listen in.
I'm able to do a lunch live today.
This looks like this is Hidden True Crime. Titled Delphi Lunch Live, crime scene photos shown in court.
My place is being saved in line inside the courthouse. So after we leave the courthouse, or after we leave the courtroom, everyone that was able to get into court, and not everyone was. There were only about.
That's a good point, Saska. But you can't see his face.
I was one of them. But once you are in the
And I've covered some other cases where they have blurry video. Like they know for a fact it's this guy. He's on video at the next door neighbor's house. That's clear. But in this one specific video, and this is a different case I'm referring to, you just can't see his face. It's blurry. So they couldn't use it in the courtroom. I mean, everybody knew it was him. The jury knew it was him. The judge knew it was him. But the fact that it was blurry, they just couldn't use it. But in this case, with the Delphi murders, it's different because you have Richard Allen and interacting with the witnesses, and they're only the only way to kind of tie it all together is the girl saying, well, yeah, the guy that we bumped into is the guy in the video.
And today crime scene photos were shown, which there wasn't. It was surprising that there were So far, 2 witnesses today.
Exactly, Banta. If it wasn't for them, none of this would tie together.
Detectives, and,
Hey, Lone Pony. Good to see you.
Yeah, and the second was a crime scene investigator with I'm going blank on his name. Forgive me. I'm just still processing everything. And
Okay, it doesn't look like we're getting anything new really from this video. So if you guys have any articles with any of the new information, I'll check for updates right before we get out of here. I'm just catching up on the chat. What's up, Doris? Welcome in. Okay, let's see here. It looks like there's something here from WRTV. Okay, here we go. We have an article here by WRTV. It is an emotional day 3 of testimony for the Delphi murders trial. Court started shortly after 9 a.m. Some members of the general public were turned away due to limited seating. The jurors were asked a number of questions, including if anyone has spoken to them about the case. All jurors answered no. More than 40 crime scene photos were shown on a large monitor inside the courtroom that took 90 minutes before the court broke for recess. Family, jurors, and the court gallery were visibly emotional as photos of Abby Williams and Libby German were shown. In the photos, both girls had large lacerations on their throats. Abby's body was just a few feet away from Libby's, according to the images. Abby was shown clothed while Libby was nude. Deputy Darren Giancola, a detective for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, was the first witness called to the stand for the state. Detective Giancola testified to being off duty that day. The girls went missing. After seeing the girl went missing on social media, Giancola testified that he was the first detective who went to the sheriff's office and then went to the trails near the Monon High Bridge. He said he started searching with other first responders. Quotations. I have worked in this field for a while, not knowing who they, Abby Williams and Libby German, were. We usually would have juveniles go missing and they would be at a movie or something with their friends, but they would usually show back up. Giancola then testified to his search efforts on February 14th. He testified to being the first law enforcement officer to arrive to the crime scene. He said he was called to the area to view the trail camera footage at first. Then, that's interesting. It says here, he said he was called to the area to view trail camera footage. Then he was asked to head to Deer Creek because we were told members of the search party had found something, possibly bodies. Giancola testified to seeing multiple people in the area of Deer Creek and said he saw a multicolored shirt and shoes in the water. He said when he first saw the bodies of Abby and Libby, one was nude and the other was clothed. The second witness called to the stand on Monday was Jason Page. Page is a crime scene investigator in charge of photographing the scene. He referenced a topography of the crime scene area and the substantial area of blood found on Libby German and in the area where the girls were found. The jurors were putting their hands on their heads, squirming, sighing, and turning red. Richard Allen looked at the photos and was taking notes. He did not show any visible emotion. The judge took a long recess to allow the jury to break after a tough morning. Court resumes at 1 p.m. This story will be updated. Okay, let me share the link to this. So it looks like they'll be updating this. If you guys want to follow this, here's the link. Very interesting. That was from WRTV Indianapolis, ABC. Okay, looks like I got another email from Beth. Let's see what we got here. Like I said, guys, we're just trying to consolidate all of this information the best we can in one location. And that's the Sleuth Intuition channel. Looks like this is a video. Just waiting for this ad to clear, and then we're going to play this video that was sent by Beth. Thank you, Beth. It's titled Jury Sees Graphic Crime Scene Photos in Delphi Murders Trial. Noon update, October 21st, 2024.
Good afternoon, everyone. We begin 13 News at Noon with breaking news in the Delphi murders trial. Today, jurors saw graphic photos of the crime scene for the first time. Our senior investigative reporter, Bob Siegel, is live in Delphi right now. And Bob, we know you were in the courtroom just now as these images were shown in court.
It's Bob Siegel.
I was, Matthew. Really hard day here inside the Carroll County Courthouse.
Look at the emotion.
They would come.
Look, it looks like he's been crying.
To be served here, the jury needs to understand what exactly happened at the crime scene, and they today got to see for the first time actual photographs of the crime scene, including bloody footage, pictures of the victims, Abby Williams and Libby German. They saw pictures of their bodies in the woods, and I'll share with you some of the information that you're about to hear is graphic. So just a warning about that. The pictures of Libby's body that the jurors saw, she was lying in the woods naked. The jurors saw both of the girls' throats slit. They saw the blood. What the prosecutor described and warned a few days ago of the gruesome crime scene that these jurors were going to be seeing. And I can tell you that some of the jurors were visibly shaken. One of the jurors put his head down.
There's Carrie.
Put his hands on top of his head as he
Kelsey
looked down.
And Carrie.
As some of the most graphic photos were
Becky
shown.
Patty.
Another juror,
Kelsey German.
Was seen repeatedly.
Her older sister.
Big, deep breaths and adjusting herself in her seat as she was seeing these. These are very tough things for anyone to see. And as you can imagine, extremely difficult for the families to see. And the families of Abby and Libby were in the courtroom today. They put their heads down in their hands and they were crying as they saw these. They got to see the photos for the first time on Saturday. The video that you're seeing, I believe right now, is of the families.
What's up, Boston? Okay, so that is Becky Patty, Kelsey German, and this is Becky's older sister. I can't remember her name.
As they were leaving court at the end of testimony Saturday, the prosecutor gave them a chance to preview the photos that the jury was going to get to see. They were very emotional on Saturday as they left the courtroom, as you can imagine. So the testimony today, it came from Jason Page. He's the Indiana State Police crime scene investigator who processed the crime scene. He methodically walked jurors through 3 crime scene diagrams that he made up based on what he saw at the crime scene, and 43 separate crime scene photos that he took. Before that, we heard testimony from Darren Giancola. He's a Carroll County Sheriff's detective, and he was the first law enforcement officer to see the girls' bodies at the crime scene. He called in the information. He described seeing a substantial amount of blood around both of the girls, and he testified today to the jury. Both had large lacerations to their throats. Again, the jury got to see exactly what the investigators were talking about. Large screens set up in the courtroom where these photographs were shown to the jury. Very challenging, difficult morning of testimony. Because of that, the judge decided to break early around 11:30, just a few minutes ago, and the jurors will have a break until 1 o'clock when court will resume. We will be back in the courtroom to bring you more testimony, to tell you more about
Hey,
the
Charlotte.
evidence that the jurors are weighing through as they see the evidence on a very, very tough day of testimony here in Delphi. Matthew, back to you.
Bob Siegel reporting live for us in Delphi. Thanks, Bob.
Very interesting. What's up, Kitty? How you doing? Says one man parked, one man on the bridge, one voice telling them down the hill, and one bullet. Lone wolf on the prowl, lone wolf. Yep, that's what the facts say. I'm open to other theories, but that's what the facts are telling us. All right, guys, I think that's everything. We're going to catch up on the chat. If there's anything more that you run into, shoot me an email. It's going to take me a while to get through all these comments. Yep, Miracle Heart's only thing missing is the Bud Light. That's it. Yep. I mean, even if you're innocent, right? You're going to react to those crime scene photos, maybe even cry. How do you just remain emotionless? Don agrees with Kitty, or tends to agree. I tend to agree as well. Keyword tend. And that's possible, badass. He did get away for some time. Nas. But if he feels what you are describing, how did he go unnoticed? Quit reputation for so long. That's how. Psychopaths, they have no emotion. He went home and went to sleep. He cleaned up and went to bed. If he's the killer, if he's capable of doing this, that's how the psychos hide in plain sight. They just have no emotion. There's no reaction. The only thing that they react to is how they're being treated. That's a good question, Kitty Cat. Badass. My husky's name is Kyla. It's a nice name. T Lemon, how you doing? My opinion is that Judge Gull is a control freak and will do the opposite of anything the public wants her to do. Yep, and that's your opinion, right?
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
And all opinions are welcome. I agree with that, Timmy. Like, where are they going with this? I guess they're trying to create some kind of a doubt, like the bullet could belong to law enforcement and that it is junk science. Slippery slope. Thank you, Sensei. Yeah, if you guys, before we get out of here, go hit that like button. Go share this video on your X feed, on your YouTube channel, on your Facebook. And don't forget to leave a comment. If you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, you can always email me at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Jill says, so true. Beth, how could an innocent person look at those photographs and not react? Yeah, I think that's very telling. But it's one of those things also, though, like no matter what happens, if he cries, oh my God, he's guilty. If he doesn't have a reaction, oh my God, he's guilty. But I just feel like any normal person, wouldn't be able to help but react. I think it would take a real sick person to be able to look at those photographs and then take down some notes without a reaction. I mean, no red face, no nothing. Thank you, Brown Skittle. And remember, that's just my opinion, guys. You don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to be right. Tattoo you, what's up? Which part, T-Bone? Which part isn't accurate? Because I mean, it lines up for me. And they also have, they have a photograph. They got the Hoosier Harvestor video. They have Richard Allen's own words. I mean, how does that not line up? But somehow they were kidnapped, taken in a vehicle, driven around town, brought back in the middle of the night, their phone activated. I mean, how does that work for you, but yet you ignore all this other stuff? And that's fine if you do. I'm just asking you. Because sometimes it's not about the truth, it's about your truth, right? People aren't looking for the truth, they're looking for their truth. What's up, Stephanie? KCL says, I hope the prosecution gets a cell phone expert to testify about the iPhone 6 and some of those idiosyncrasies of it. Hopefully I said that word right. Sorry, I'm illiterate. Bad as I can speculate like the defense team and say, what if this happened too? Yep. It's all about doubt. Purdue, I hope and pray you are right, Sleuth. I pray for a plea change. Bob and his wife should have a hard time sleeping at night, helping the defense to get Richard Allen released, knowing he has confessed 60 times. Well, I've said it from the beginning. You have to be a certain kind of a person to be a defense lawyer, and we do need them, So we all got to get in where we fit in. Thank you, V. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to my members. Make sure you guys give a warm welcome, all of the Sleuth crew, and welcome in YouTube Bad Actors. Quite a fun little channel. I refer to it as my guilty pleasure. Big Flex Cheeks, thanks for pointing out who that person was in the sketch. Thank you for supporting my channel for so long. And all of my mods, you guys do great work. Thanks for keeping the chat flowing and respectful. Alley Cattails, that all makes sense. Phone and pings, location, H2O damage. Thank you. Yep. Thanks for joining the chat. Hey, karma points. Larry Ridgway, he looks like Bobby Hill in the picture. Interesting name, Larry. You guys know about the Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway? Killed over 80 women. Went back and visited a lot of the crime scenes, showing where some of the unsolved murder victims were placed, some of their dump sites, and you can see the obvious reaction on his face. There is a good documentary on Max. I recommend it. Plus, I did a couple live streams on Gary Ridgway if you guys want to go check those out on my channel. I mean, it's just hard to even wrap your mind around something like that. Pure evil. I don't think so. I do have his obituary. He was a local musician. He even has a YouTube channel. And I think his CD is for sale on Amazon as well. Charles Schultz in the Courtroom sketch artist. I don't believe it is Charles Schultz. It's somebody by the name of April Ganser. And she's with TAG Art Company. He was on death's door. Truffles says killer. Welcome in, Truffles. Did Alan's father drive an old comic car? I don't think he was living, but I don't even know if his stepfather was living at the time. I know his bio father wasn't. Or his adopted father, sorry. Better yet. KCL says HTC said there was blood pooled around the victims, and it certainly seemed the girls were killed there, not moved there later. They said the clothes Abby was wearing were damp. Yeah, remember, guys, if they crossed that creek, they would have been soaked. And right around probably 5 or 6, it's going to get really cold. It's going to be hard for that clothing to dry out. Not only in that shaded area, but as the temperature starts to drop, right? Zuzu, I believe so, yes. Is he a turtle head, or does he just like turtle head soup? I think he's a turtle head. Thank you, Curious Charlie. Is that the one that I read? I think I got to that. I think I'm just falling behind. But thank you for that. Stephanie says maybe Nick purposely said girls down the hill and hopes Richard Allen would correct him and say guys down the hill. I think the reporters got it wrong. Pozo, what did Bobby Hill do this time? Damn it, Bobby. Stephanie, he is the killer. Mark my words. Well, they got to prove that in court. HTC also said they showed a close-up of Libby's hands, and they were covered with blood. She couldn't see an F on the tree, but did see blood splatter on the tree. Thank you for that. HTC also said the branches arranged on the girls did not seem ritualistic, just piled on as if to camouflage the bodies. Sleuth intuition. Yeah, and I've gone over that, and he didn't try to cover them. So this is what happened, I believe, from my understanding, and why they didn't see the girls that day. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. I'm not just trying to argue to get some innocent man thrown in prison. This is what I truly believe. So I created this to kind of help you guys understand the way I'm seeing things. So we'll create it in a dark area. It was very dark that day. Somewhat rough terrain. A lot of trees in the background. Trees in the foreground laying on the ground. Yeah, somewhat tall grass, shorter grass, but lots of grass sticking up out of the ground. I have the victims reversed, but that's just to give you a basic idea. And then the killer camouflaged them, did not cover them, and then we'll shroud them in darkness. And this is what the searchers would have seen walking nearby with their flashlights, looking for people that were living, not people covered on the ground dead. They're going to scan the horizon. So this was a countermeasure done by Richard Allen to conceal those girls. It bought him time. I don't know. That'll probably come up, Stephanie. All right, if you guys have any more updated information, let's get it in the chat. We're getting ready to close out. So shout out to everybody who sent me those emails and who are providing the information in the chat. All we're doing is trying to consolidate all of the information into one spot. One-stop shop. Yeah, that was new information to me too, KCL. We got a little bit more information about the drone. We know for a fact that they had one. Next question is what type of drone and where did it search? Be the Light says people got out of the morning session, no antlers, way bloodier than could have ever been imagined. The F doesn't even look like an F. Not to mention, Richard Allen was looking at the crime scene photos from what we gathered and showed no emotion. But the jury, from what we're hearing, was visibly emotional, fidgeting in their seats, blushing. And it also looked like some of the reporters were had been crying. Badass says, I think when Allen ate his own feces, he wanted an insanity plea, but his lawyers convinced him they could win this case. It would have been too late for an insanity plea, but they could say that he was incompetent. So it could be a delay tactic. So you have to be insane at the time of the crime. That just proves that he's insane at that moment or under some kind of psychosis, which he very well could have been. But it would have more been for a delay tactic, in my opinion. Because, the judge isn't a doctor. If she hears, hey, we're going to trial in 2 days, and you're telling me that the accused is eating their own feces, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you whether he's competent or not. We're going to have to send him to a doctor to be evaluated. KCL says the crime scene was narrowed to 30-foot square off area. That's good information. Thank you, KCL. The worst blow to the defense will be when people learn that the police first released the still photo of Bridge Guy as a trap, pretending it was just a witness. He panicked and called the tip line. Yeah, I remember that. They put his face out and said, oh, this is, they just want to talk with him to see what he knows and what he's seen. He's not considered a suspect. You're right about that. Thank you, Mustang. You got it, V. Marie. Always good to see you. Shout out to all of you hardworking mods that help make this a safe space. All opinions are welcome. Just have a few rules. You have to have the ability to agree to disagree. No triggered trolling. No attacking the family of the victims. And don't be a distraction. That's it. Elaine Prost, this. Am I saying that right? Okay, yeah. So we were trying to figure out who that was. Thank you guys for clearing that up. Cheeks as well. Let me put this back up so they know what we're talking about. So I was asking early on who this was in the sketch. Who was pointing at the bridge. And you guys are clarifying that was Kelsey, so thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Cheek says, I'll be honest, I have seen the pictures. I saw them quite a long time ago, and it's pretty bad. There's definitely a lot of blood. I didn't see any antlers. Nothing about what I saw changed my mind. This account, usually a person under psychosis at the time of the crime does not cover anything up. They may be sitting at a table talking to a family wearing bloody clothes. They are not attempting to cover things up because of psychosis. Yeah, hopefully we can get some clarity on that, Jennifer. Welcome in, by the way. I like Toidles. Always good to see you. Lork C. Can't imagine how those parents and relatives have dealt with. All right, guys. Looks like that's going to be it. We're going to cut this one short. I think we covered everything today. So we will reconvene tomorrow for more trial coverage. of the Richard Allen trial. He's been accused of killing Abby and Libby out of Delphi. And we're going to do our best to keep all of the information relating to his case consolidated in one place here on the Sleuth Intuition channel. I can't do that without your help. So I appreciate all of you. Biggest shout out to my members. Thank you. You make this possible. All of my donors who keep hitting up the Cash App and the Venmo. Thank you. Very gracious of you. And my hardworking mods and all of my subscribers and all of you who participated in the chat. Thank you. Replay crew, you know exactly what to do. Leave a comment and we'll get back to you. If you guys need to reach me for whatever reason, my email address is sleuthintuition@gmail.com. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.